So he came to me and said, well, I'm thinking about going to Liberia, but I want to learn this computer in a room. That was that one computer. The computer PS started that day, started in that room. We went through the training, and by the end of the year, by 2006, before I left for the USA, we had trained approximately 800 refugees from across Africa.
From your one computer.
From that one computer. But the computer later on multiplied into 17 or 18 computers before I left the camp. That's another whole long story. So by the time I was in the camp, by 2006, I got an award from the Nigerian Women Association that said, well, you are the only person creating this kind of future in the camp, and we want to help you. So there's an award for you in Lagos. So I went for the award to receive the award there. I declared my intention to want to come back to Liberia to bring the vision that we started back home here. So I came here. We raised 10,000 US dollars that year. That was the first time I decided to return home after I've been gone all these years. Came back to Liberia. We bought a land in Jacotown Rehab Community, just in Peninsula area here. And then 1 acre was bought for, I think, 5,000 US dollars. The other 5,000 was put towards the building of our first computer school in Liberia. So that building was constructed.
So you constructed it in Jacotown?
Yeah, rehab community. It's called the 842 Computer Training Center.
842?
Yeah, Computer Training Center.
Why 842?
That's another long story. I will tell you more about that. Let's take it sequence by sequence. So what happened was that we built that school in 2004 in Jacotown. Then Taylor was still here when I came at the time. We built a school.
But you say you went to the States.
That was before going to the States.
You
I went to the States in 2006. I went back to Liberia in 2005. So it was 2 years before my departure for the States.
So how did you get to the States?
The States, I went to the... No, what happened is that in the refugee camp, at some point I was so desperate, from Ivory Coast all the way, all we wanted to do was to travel, thinking that the solution to our problems lies in the West. Like, you know what? The further I can go away from the problem I got to deal with, the better I will be. But our problems are like our shadows. They follow you everywhere you go. You're not going to run away from it. You just got to face it. You know, so with that idea in mind, I applied to a lot of embassies, like the British. I applied to the Canadian and Australian on refugee relocation programs. I was rejected. I went for several interviews. I couldn't succeed. At some point, I had to talk to myself. You know what? Talk to myself and said, maybe this is not what God wants for me. You know, maybe I should focus on this one computer and continue working with it. So I never went back again to apply for anything after that. After I made that decision to return to Liberia, I need to go back home and focus on this computer school. Now that we have 17 computers with a generator and the school is doing good, let's take it home and focus. Give me a job. So we came back to Liberia, and I remember when we built that first school in Jacotown that year, the school have just started. We had about 200 students on that. We shipped about 7 computers from Nigeria, and while the school was in session, one day I got a call from Lagos, and it was the UN calling the lady at the UN office saying, well, Eric, we have a program, the resettlement program, your name was selected. In fact, it was not even the UN, it was one of my teachers from the refugee camp that called me while I was here in Liberia building the school. He said, your name came up to travel to the States on the information bulletin. And I said, well, I didn't apply to go to America. I don't know how my niche showed up on that board. He said, well, for some reason, your name is up. You're actually number 3 on the list. I said, well, I don't believe that. I didn't apply to go to America. The places I applied to go to, I was rejected automatically. So I got on the phone and called the UN representative in Nigeria because they knew me because of the work I was doing in the camp.
Okay.
So I asked the guy, how did my name appear on that list? She said, well, Eric, among all of the refugees we have in Nigeria, we thought you are one of those productive people that we think will help. If you travel, you help other refugees. So we took your name, your file from Canada and Australia. We have copies of the file. We just transferred it to the U.S. government, and the U.S. government accepted it without any question. So you don't have to write any more story. We already have the copy. All I need you to do is to show up for the interview for your departure. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I can't show up for the departure because we are building a school right now, and I'm in the middle of it. I can't just leave. So she said, well, for the fact that you told me you're in Liberia, you are supposed to be automatically disqualified from this program because we are sending people abroad who cannot go back to Liberia because of security reasons. For you now, it's like you have no security fear of going back home. So your name shouldn't be here. I said, well, madam, if you decide that, there's no problem. But I'm here working. I can't leave. My flight doesn't leave till the next 2 months. I don't have money to get on a plane. I'm just telling the honest truth. And she said, you know what? You are the first Liberian to tell me the truth. To tell me that you're in Liberia and your name is on the list to go to America and you can't make it here until you finish building that school, it speaks volumes. So stay there, finish your work. I'll make you the very last person to leave the country in August. We're going to send everybody ahead. The last departure date will be in August, so do your work. So that was how I was able to stay in Liberia throughout 2006.
And build your school.
Build a school.
842.
And for the Jacotown.
So now, through all of these experiences you went through, Eric, how are you coming back now, giving it to your own people, the young people you left?
Well, it takes a heart to do it. First, you got to have a heart and the willingness to want to do something like that. I believe the things that truly belongs to us as a people are the things that we are able to give out to others. You don't give things out to people that you don't own. So in order to demonstrate that you own something, you have to be able to give something out to somebody. That's the one that belongs to you. You're not going to take somebody else's property and give it to somebody else and say, I'm trying to be nice to you. You can't do that. And when I look at the war in Liberia, the war came because we were selfish people, self-centered people. We tried to control people, dominate other people's life. And we forget about ourselves, that we are here to be servants, to provide services, to be nice to others. We forget that. And that's why the war came. People fought because they were just upset, angry. And we want to change that direction or culture, then of course we have to now start learning about sacrificial work. Stop depending on the government, start depending on the outside community, stop depending on your brother in the family or somebody responsible for your problems. Somebody did this to you and because of that your life is a mess, and not taking full responsibility of your own life. And taking full responsibility means becoming a full participant of what's going on. What are you giving back? You've received a lot. Just being a Liberian is a gift. So what do you do with that gift? Keep it, destroy it, or give it back to somebody else? And in the case of Liberia, that's not working. So I look at that from the refugee camp. I'm in this camp today because somebody caused this problem. And what do I need to do to fix this problem? Okay, in my generation, not everybody, but a few people that I meet every day. What can I do to help? So from that heart, I got involved with this thing. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the bank account.
Is the school complete now?
Well, we have built. The goal is to reach out to all 15 counties in Liberia. We have evolved over the years from computer school to 40 academic programs to housing for underprivileged people. We build about 8 different houses now for people we give away free of charge.
In Monrovia?
Yeah, in Monrovia area, in our Jacotown area. Some of the houses cost about $8,000 a piece. We build it and give the people who don't.
So how are you getting that kind of money?
Well, the money, there's no international funding. There has been no local government or whatever funding. It's always grassroots, and that's what I believe in, which is the change comes from the bottom, it goes up. I try to motivate Liberians, some of them who are construction workers, get involved.
Changing minds, changing their hearts.
And changing the lives. Because the greatest change we need first is a change of a mindset. The mindset leads to the culture. That's what defines the culture. Liberia problem, the poverty problem, is the culture problem. Okay, there's no thing out there called poverty that you're going to fight physically. It's the culture, the way of thinking, the way the people think. That is that should be, to me, a declaration of war against our way of thinking, because we are not engaging. So it starts from the classroom, which is educating the man, giving the information which will lead to transformation of his own personal life. What he doesn't know, helping them. Then the heart, we are disconnected from our hearts. Nothing breaks Liberian people's hearts. We don't have a passion. Nothing excites us. We don't.
So who are you building these houses for?
For people in the community. If I live in a concrete house and my next door neighbor live in a dead block house or a baboon house or a tarpaulin house, I feel guilty that, you know what, maybe the gasoline for my car can buy a bottle of zinc to help that man next door. And instead of me building a fence around the house, let me help those guys because they're going to serve as security for me. I don't need to build a fence. So those are some of the philosophy that I have managed over the years with my partners and friends to inject into our organization. So we build it for people just next door around the school. They don't even work for the school. They don't work for the organizations. We built 8. We have 1 building right now. So we've done that, and then we are into full-time academic programs. In Johnsonville, Jacotown area, we built a school called the Heart of Grace High School. It has presently above 1,000 students free of charge. They've been running like that for 4 years.
Free school.
Yeah, from nursery to 12th grade. It's there right now as I speak to you. Complete high school. We also have a leadership program. We have a computer school running alongside, and then we have spread out to 5 different counties right now. I just came back from Bonn this morning before I came on your show.
Yeah, they told me you were on your way from Banga.
From Banga. So we built a school that is the biggest high school, the most modern high school ever to be built in Bonn County area. You know.
So you got partners and collaborators with you.
Yeah, that's how to do with the local community members. There's no national or people that you know in Liberia part of that. Not one single person I know about. Not one. But we work with the locals. Those are the people we believe in. The people in the villages that have been.
You got partners out of Liberia?
We have partners, yeah, out of Liberia in the States. I live in the States, but I had to come back home a few years ago and say, you know what? America is great. It's wonderful. I went there 2006. By 2007, I was ready to come back home because I thought I was out of place. America wasn't designed for Liberians. It wasn't designed for Africans. It was designed for the Americans. Okay? And becoming an American citizen is a great thing, but I'm a Loma man. What do I do with the blood that flows through my veins even though I've changed my nationality? I'm still a Loma man. My mom still remains Loma. Dad remains Loma. So I need to first solve the identity crisis first in my life. Okay, who am I? I won't do much of my life if I don't know who I'm at. I gotta know who I'm at first before I can do anything. So to establish that, I had to come back to Liberia, even though I went on a refugee program, which gave me the opportunity to live there, become a U.S. citizen. But I started coming back home because I felt that coming back home is a solution. The problems Liberians have is a Liberian problem created by Liberians, and the solution rests with Liberians.
All right.
10 a.m.
All right, Eric Wowoh, interesting story. I didn't take any calls because your story was so interesting. Now, television viewers, thank you so much for being on the Super Morning Show. At 10 o'clock, you can join LNTV for the LNTV news. But Eric, let's wrap up with you because we're out of time now. Now, all of this, listening to you, your experience through life, you know, walking out of bunk mines into Ivory Coast, Ghana, then on to Togo, then Ghana, Benin, Nigeria. Went through all of that. Went to jail for nothing, I would say. You've come back, had the opportunity to learn, and you come back to give freely to your people. Is this satisfying? Is there anything satisfying about what you're doing?
I can tell you, sir, that there's no amount of money I can place on this. There's nothing in the world I can give in exchange for what's going on. It's quite satisfying because it's like fulfilling the purpose of your life. That's why I look at it. And once you're fulfilling your life purpose, you know, there are certain things that money cannot buy. Like for instance, money cannot buy joy. You can buy happiness with a brand new car and new girlfriend. You feel happy for a little while, and after that, the happiness is gone. It evaporates. But when you start living your life to the fullness, the greatness to me is determined by how many lives you are able to impact every single day. It's not about the car you drive, the house you live in, how much your tie costs, or how much education you got. If that education is not having an impact in people's life every day, okay? Like right now, our 2 schools alone have about 3,000 population. When I sit and think about that every day, 3,000 in 2 schools alone that you got to take care of every day, I think I'm okay. I'm perfect. I'm fine.
You have a family of your own now? You able to have a wife and children now?
I have kids, but I don't have a wife because the one that I took to the States, the relationship couldn't work out. She told me, hands up, I don't want to go back to Liberia to do anything in Liberia because I've had my own share of Liberian problem. If you want to go, I wish you good luck with that. So I had to come back with myself.
Eric, thank you so much for coming and sharing
problem.
your experience.
No problem.
It's great talking to you.
Great talking to you, sir. Thank you. My pleasure.
Eric Wowoh. Interesting life experience, all right? Well, that does it for the Super Morning Show this Thursday morning, 19th day of September 2013. Thank you so much. Thanks to our producer, Titus Kamabuakai. Thanks to the team, the Supreme Dun, Ambrose Ma, Soba George, Ledger Hoot Mreni. My name is Raymond Oliver Hoggett. Call me the Grumpy Dun. Remember now, separate yourself from thy enemies. Separate thyself from thy enemy and know thy friends. Until next week, Thursday, God willing, I'll be around. But tonight, I'll be here at 8:15. The Constitution and you. God bless.